Welcome to Resilience plus Rise, the podcast where resilience is not just a concept, but it's a day to day action. The steps that we take, the steps that we makes us put a life with purpose.
Mm.
This podcast is based on my best-selling book, Resilience plus Rise. Today, when we're talking about books, I'm honored to have an amazing guest. She's an author by herself, and Fabi Preslar. She helps leaders to turn their wisdom into gorgeous, get this, as I repeated, gorgeous, powerful books and magazines. She's the founder of Spark Publication, a 29-year strong custom publication firm that helps hundreds of entrepreneurs and organizations to share their story and grow their legacy.
Mm.
Fabi has been an award winner author, publisher, and a founder of Radiant Chapter Collectives. She has written books. She has written around she's an award-winning author of 3 books: The Fabulous F Word of Business Ownership, the newest release, what we'll see, Wilted and Worthy, and many other collection of essays or stories, which specifically puts a spotlight on life's tougher seasons. So, without wasting much time, baby, welcome to Resilience plus Rise, the podcast.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, you have reached this particular area or the accolades and what you have been working on. How has the journey been?
Repeat that, please.
The journey.
The journey. Oh, always the journey. The journey has been what it needed to be to get me to where I am, right?
Because the reason I asked you, because sometimes people say when we look at the people on the billboards or people who have reached that stage, they feel it seems to be easy for them.
Oh, well, it's supposed to look easy from the outside, right? So now my journey, I wouldn't say would be terribly hard, but it was definitely created the dots that needed to happen in order for me to become the person that I am. So my parents were both French immigrants that I'm first generation, came to the US. My dad, very creative thinker, a chef, and he always wanted to have his own business. He was always searching for that nugget that would help bring in all the money, right? And so he was always doing very unique side hustles. And those never worked out. None of them did. So he decided to jump big. And he jumped into owning a restaurant without any business knowledge. And so unfortunately, that restaurant failed within the year. And that was my senior year in high school. It ended up taking us to live with another family in North Carolina. And, shortly I graduated high school, and then I decided it was time to go out on my own. So at 17, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina by myself. I didn't know anyone here. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any money. I found 3 jobs to help me get through school and just started my life. So all that was a little challenging, but it ended up helping me not have an option, but to move forward, to survive, and to make things happen for myself.
Okay. And you decided the spirit of entrepreneurship. You wanted to get on something. What was about books or publication that made you feel that that's the path that you want to create?
Well, I mean, it took quite a few years to get there. My background was in graphic design.
Okay.
And the first company that I started as freelance, and I did it because I didn't want to go back to my corporate job. I had just had my daughter, and I wanted to be a mom, and I wanted to express myself through, graphic design. So I did that. And I did that for 6 years. And then that business closed because of me not understanding some contract things that the business partner I had at the time. In other words, don't have the same lawyer as your business partner. That was that was the
Okay.
first big challenge that I had. But so years later, I realized again that more people were spending time with my daughter and my husband than I were. And that's when I started Spark Publications. That's 29 years ago. And I started it from the point of needing a paycheck, having a lot of skills in a lot of different areas as far as technical skills, graphic design, being able to produce works, have customer service, and having my own business and being home with my family at the time made a lot of sense. So I didn't know that I necessarily sought out to be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur.
Okay.
I had seen how things could go really bad with my
Okay.
father. And, but I also knew that being an entrepreneur could also help me live a life and serve the way that I wanted to.
Wonderful. And that has shown through the different works that you have been doing. And you have been awarded as the business, North Carolina Woman Business of Hall of Fame. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has been, you have also been named as the National Woman in Media by Folio
Mhm.
and Stevie Award winner, Entrepreneur of the Year. So when we talk about all these elements, and when I look at your book, there is something which has threads that is specifically your books, whether it's about resilience, whether it's about uh, life's challenges, about how it is. So, how did this element of writing books and these stories or these essays come through that, which made a difference to you?
It's all about having that story, having the voice. The lyrical essays from the latest book, Wilted and Worthy, came from me having questions.
Hmm.
My father had recently passed away. I'm a woman business owner that's aging in industries that don't always necessarily celebrate that. I had a lot of questions about my own personal evolution
Hmm.
and resilience and grief. And I started writing down the questions and meditating, getting amazing responses back that were healing and fueling for me.
Beautiful.
And they came through as lyrical essays, which is not something that I write. So then I realized that was coming from higher wisdom. And those things needed to be shared with other people. I didn't plan on making it big, but as I shared it with a few people, they really thought that that was something that I needed to share. And since it did come from such a pure source, I didn't want to make any money on it for myself. So I created it. I created the book and selling the books purely for funding for scholarships through Radiant Chapters Collective.
Beautiful. And guys, I'll be putting out Fabi's links and information. If there is a stirring within you, go ahead, connect with her.
Yes.
And if you believe her books, or at least your climb towards your journey of entrepreneurship, if there can be any aspect of help, do reach out. And so it comes to the next question is that not as an advice, but then you have been in this business for 29 plus years, and prior to that, you have had seen the history about the your dad, your father, striving towards working on something for the betterment of the family. He There was a lot of good intentions, but it all failed.
Yeah.
And so, if I could ask you, what could be 4 to 6 thoughts that comes to your mind for people who are building up their business, or it could be not only business but then working towards a goal, working towards a purpose? Again, I'm not asking as advice, but because advice we give, it just flies away. But what are your suggestions? What are your thoughts? What would you say about that?
The very first one is to be clear as to why you're doing it. So I built Spark Publications from the very beginning because it needed to be something where I could express myself creatively, where I could serve, and where I could take care of my family. And so that became the core, the heart, and the purpose of my business, through service, through creativity, through taking care of those around me. So when times get hard, when clients come and go, when employees come and go, and you feel like you don't have anything left, go back and you remember and realize the core of why you're doing the business. And it helps you through those hard times. The other is really learn the basics of business before even trying a business. Yes, you can learn it while you're building it, but it's so much harder. And you've already got a lot to do and a lot of funds to raise in order to continue your business happening. Just knowing the basics of it. And that, yes, that means accounting. Yes, that means marketing. Yes, that means operations. So those are two very critical things. The third thing also, which is probably the first thing, is know who you're serving. If you do not know who your audience is and what they need, you may not have a business and surely not a product. Fourth thing is don't forget who you are in the process. I find that I do better in the business when I step into the business with new ideas. Mm-hmm. And you can't get new ideas if you're burning out, you know? And so I take time to paint. I take time to write. I spend time with my family and my friends. And yes, the business most times does feel all consuming. But if you let it consume you, then there's nothing left to grow the business, and a business that's not growing is dying. So I don't know. I think those right off the top are some
wonderful. They are absolutely wonderful. What you just mentioned is that what now you got your Spark publication and you just came out with Wilted and Worthy. But what are the other elements that's currently in your space, in your life, that's happening around that excites you? It could be, it's coming to the year end and beginning of next year. You got something in plan if you would want to tell the audience about it?
Well, I've got 2 new imprints that we're launching. Mm-hmm. And one of those imprints are going to be memoir focused, to where I can actually use more of my consulting and coaching and help people pull the essence out of the story that they need so that they can do better work and better service with the story that they're telling. So I'm excited about that. We've also launched Radiant Chapters Collective. That was this year, and we're going to have our first big fundraiser in March. So excited about that. Okay. We've launched the Entrepreneur Publishing Scholarship through Radiant Chapters, which helps fund books for underserved entrepreneurs so that they can tell their story, so that it's healing other folks as well as helping them build their business and their legacy. So I don't get bored.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that's quite a bit of a handful of things. But can you put a little more spotlight on Radiant Chapters, because that seems to be quite interesting. And in today's world, when there is this concept that, yes, I have got that germ of the seed to write, to see, and what you're facing now is the giant of AI which is coming in.
Yeah.
Anybody who just has got 2 or 3 words, they come out with some beautiful, powerful essays, etc. Mm-hmm. So how would you put a hand on their back, these budding artists or authors, that, hey, to do what they believe they can do?
Well, AI is a tool and should be used that way. So you're still going to need your own creativity and your own expression through your life experiences in order to create something that's going to be valuable for somebody else. Mm-hmm. like anything else, you have to start. So if you want to write, then write. If you want to paint, then paint. Do you have an audience? Well, you're never going to have an audience until you believe in your own product and you're creating something that's of value for others. So I don't know if that was the question that you had. I mean,
Yeah,
you just
it's more of a discussion question, is that because in today's world, people, they again, I'm not pointing to any generation, but things wherein we do not get our gratification, if that's the right word, or if they don't see the results, people tend to give up.
Yeah, and that's fine. Those that give up are not going to move forward, so you have to put action into it. It takes energy. Yes, it's hard sometimes. And yes, you feel like you have to develop new levels of resilience to get these projects done. But if you think about it, if it's only going to be celebrated by those that actually get to the finish line, that they complete the painting, they complete the writing. You can get assistance, you can get help from others, but giving up means that you just really didn't want it enough, or you really didn't have enough to share with the world. That's just, it's not just self-serving. You can't have it just be self-serving. It has to be a service to others. So, and we see that in a different way through Spark Publications, where we're designing higher end books. So, nice cookbooks, coffee table books. These are the cream of the cream. They show the talent of people that are resilient, that know they have a story to tell. They know they have an audience that's waiting for it because they have worked hard to build that. And then, of course, once they launch those books, it helps them build bigger platforms. It helps them build their business even better. So what you're talking about is from the very beginning, those that want to try to do something, then yes, try it, do it. I love to try and fail 100 times at whatever you're trying to do. You're not going to have super talents until you develop them.
Wonderful. There's this beautiful word which you use, fail. And again, I say is that if you use failures as the stepping stone, and you would be having quite a bit of stories on that beautiful word of failure.
Yes.
Does something come to your mind that you built up, or what you believed was something beautiful, only to see it crumbling in front of you?
Well,
how did you come out of that?
Well, I shared the quick story about my dad. It was a beautiful restaurant, but you can't run it without the right infrastructure. So that had a great ending in the sense that it had us move and restart our lives. So it wasn't a failure. It just didn't work out. Right. And so for me, oh my gosh, I started painting just a couple years ago, or restarted painting, and you go in with an idea but no plan, and sometimes it's just awful, and you end up with a canvas full of paint that you can't do anything with besides start over. Same thing with writing. I've had ideas of things that I wanted to write or publish, and it just it didn't come to completion because it didn't need to. It wasn't ready to, but it always sparks something else. So sometimes those great ideas you have and get started on are really just a great stepping stone to the next good thing that's going to happen. It doesn't make it a failure. It just means, I don't know, it wasn't meant to be, or not now. So that's the one I tell my daughter a lot. She gets frustrated, and I was like, it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It just means not now.
Okay. Or maybe you're not seeing in the right direction. It could be a little more to the right or a little to the left. And maybe that's when the horizon is seen better.
I don't know. Or sometimes it's not this year, but in a couple years, and patience is part of resilience, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Patience is such a strong people. But that's what happens, is that in today's world, especially when we talk from the social media point of view, that or whatever is required, it just comes up so quickly. The time and the effort we put in, and especially as a writer, because even I've been a writer and I do
Mhm.
quite a bit of blog posts, etc. The time that we take to write something, it requires a lot of patience. And
Yes, it
sometimes
does.
it may not come out the way we want it. What the
Mhm.
stirring within our heart may not be what comes out on the screen.
Yeah.
But you got to keep on plugging in because, as you mentioned, maybe your write up today was not good, but tomorrow, give it another go.
Tomorrow you'll come back and you'll reread it and you'll circle this one word that gets you started on an entire different direction, and it's so much better.
Fantastic. Fabi, in just coming to the close of time, is there something else that you would like to tell the audience? Whether it is about the books, whether it's about life, whether it's about
Yeah.
what you're doing, it's stage is yours.
I really think that taking the time to go through your own timeline and writing down the lessons that you've learned
Mhm.
and looking at them as a point of light each time, and then realizing how each of those lessons actually helped you become as resilient and strong as you are now, and all
Mhm.
those lessons accumulated. So it just helps you to do that. So the next time you're in just like a pickle, just a bad situation, or things just aren't coming together beautifully at all, then you can see it from a different light. You can see it from the point that there's something in this middle of a mess that you're in that's going to help you with the next thing that's coming around the corner. I've realized that as I've written my books and realized what each phase of my life actually brought to the next phase.
Mhm.
And then it can maybe become a service to someone else because you just see it as your typical journey because you have no other way to see that. But
Mhm.
it can be extraordinary, or it can be healing or valuable to someone else. So, for no other reason, write your own memoir to better understand your journey and who you are and who you're becoming. And then maybe one day you can work and make and meld it into your business experience and have a beautiful book out of it that's going to really help somebody out.
Beautiful. In fact, that's what, as a podcast, that's when we ask questions. A lot of times people believe that they do not have a story. They do not
Mm,
have something which can inspire another human.
mm,
And when I ask some few questions, suddenly s- glimmers of or slivers of light starts popping out.
mhm.
Realize they say, yeah, that was there. But the thing is, we as humans, we are one of our worst critics, and we don't give that type of pedestal. I'm not talking from the ego point of view, but then what
Yeah.
we have worked towards to reach where we
It's
are.
acknowledgement. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not from the ego. Yeah.
So that's the way it is. Anyway, baby, thank you so very much for your space and time. This has been a quite a good conversation, specifically as the word which we have used is about resilience, patience, striving towards where we are working towards. And as you mentioned, is that having a clarity about your goals, your purpose, and maybe just start with penning down or just looking at what your life has been and where you have reached, and the journey may be still continuing. Yeah, I mean, the fact for me and the way I look at it is that the fact when we wake up in the night in the morning and our feet hit the ground, we are blessed, we are lucky to have another day at our disposal. And what can we do on that? So, baby, thank you so very much for your space and time.
This was fun. Thank you.